Welcome back to Prep Talk. Thank you for coming in this week. I have a special guest today. I'm here with Lake County Eustis alum, Florida State. He was on the national championship team of '99. This is Bobby Rhodes. How are you doing today, Bobby?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show, by the way. I just wanted to kind of talk to what Prep Talk is all about. It's basically talking to different things, different people that are influencing prep sports in certain different ways. And I just kind of want to talk to you because I know you now, and we work together. And you've become a coach for Mount Dora High School. This is your first year, so kind of wanted to see what it was like and how it's been so far. Sure. If we can go back to your history or your career at Florida State, like how did you get to Florida State? I know you're a Eustis alum. We don't have to talk about what year you graduated, but
well, I graduated in '95. Believe it or not, most people don't know this, but we had more people on Eustis High School from Eustis High School on scholarship at Florida State than any other school in the country.
Wow!
In the late '90s, between my brother, myself, and Justin Ammon. So.
Oh yeah. That's a throwback name. That's a throwback name.
But we'll see. But to answer your question, I tore my ACL my junior high school, third game of the season, and obviously ended that year.
Yeah.
It's a big year for recruiting. And so I spent the next year rehabbing my knee as much as I possibly could. And really came back stronger. I have not had any issues with it since whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
well, before you keep going, did that hurt you at all? I mean, obviously we know that you went to Florida State and you played, but did that kind of hinder you?
It definitely affects recruiting some because your junior year kind of sets the stage for your senior year.
Right, right.
I had a very good senior year. I played, so I was always an offensive and defensive guy, but our senior quarterback, which is Maurice Hayes, which I think graduated.
I know Maurice Hayes, yes.
And so anyways, I could, I was fairly athletic. I could run, I could throw. So I ended up playing quarterback and middle linebacker. Although I was a defensive player, I was, but like I said, I ended up playing those two positions. I was never groomed to play a quarterback.
Right.
At Florida State, I never even considered that, being the position. I knew I was a linebacker.
Well, at that point, you guys had Winky. So
well, Winky came a little bit after. The first year was Danny Cannell, then Thad Busby, which are good friends of mine.
Yeah.
And but yes, Winky came in. But no, I never even asked, never took a snap, never even considered. I mean, I was a linebacker through and through. If I broke contain on any type of, I'm trying to run the safety over, running around him, unfortunately, which could be good and bad. But anyways, so. I ended up walking on in '95, my freshman year.
Yeah.
And, you started from the very, very bottom. I was redshirted, had a great class with Peter Warwick and Corey Simon, and just played with a lot of phenomenal players. Randy Moss was actually in that class, but he ended up.
So that's when he got there and that happened.
Got in a little bit of trouble and was relieved from the team. But, just an absolute phenomenal class. I think we are the winningest class to ever play at Florida State.
Yeah.
We call ourselves a 9 nickel. And anyway, so, started from the bottom, started with special teams. And, you got to kind of your redshirted year, we were all pretty much all redshirted that class, except I think Dexter Jackson was the only guy that was not redshirted. And so, your first year, you're just kind of learning the ropes and starting to understand the system and how everything works.
Yeah,
and just trying to get noticed.
It's much different from high school, I imagine. I mean,
extremely different. Extremely different. And then, my actual true freshman year, I worked on the special teams, started doing pretty well in the special teams.
Yeah.
And earned a scholarship. And then I got my first start my sophomore year against Maryland, and actually got ACC Player of the Week and led Florida State tackles. Yep.
Wow.
Darrell Bush got a little banged up and was injured, and that was my first start, and had a pretty good showing.
I mean, I'm not that much younger than you, but these names are like throwback names to me that you throw. It's like, because I'm a Florida State fan as well. Sure. So it's awesome that you play with them. I didn't even realize that. So yeah,
they do some great players.
So I mean, I know you've done some stuff since you left Florida State, but right now, what we're talking about, you being an assistant coach. Sure. So you're at Mount Dora High School. Your son plays there. How did that happen? How did you become an assistant coach, and why now? after you've been out of school so long?
You know, just busy with family and everything that comes with business, family, and everything else that comes with that.
Shout out to Bobby Rhodes.
Extremely busy with everything, and that'd be the biggest reason. I've done some pop warner coaching to help out here and there.
Yeah.
But I was asked to coach last year, and just wasn't. I went for the first week of practice, and I feel like I have a certain style to my coaching.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't a good fit for me, and I kind of declined. And then that coaching staff ended up going somewhere else, and they brought in a new coaching staff, and I was asked again for this year, and went out and met the coaches, and they just everything that I believe in on how a young man should be brought up and taught football.
Right.
And to me, football is an awesome sport. To me, it's the greatest sport
ever.
We have.
Yeah.
And but football more than anything is a vessel to kind of take a young man and teach him all these things and show them how they can apply that to life.
To life, yeah. I on my interview last week with Coach Darlington, where he was talking about how football mirrors life. You can have certain football situations where you can apply it to life. Absolutely. And so that's good that you're speaking on that as well. So I mean, if we go from 95, I'm sure you played in high school obviously before 95, but how would you say football is different now, as it pertains to just like kind of coach?
I think us as our coaching staff does a very, very good job at relating to the players, and they're slowly, being a new staff, you have kids that are kind of used to the way things were, and like I said, very different. Yeah. And getting them to buy into that culture, and then seeing that shift kind of happen, it takes a little bit of time. But when we're all speaking the same message,
right? It's very important.
It just slowly happens, and we're finally feel like we're seeing the fruits of our labor. We're a completely different team today than we were the first game of the season. Yeah, we've gotten better every week, and it just seems like in the last couple we're really starting to get in our stride. Yeah. Our senior class is great. Our leadership is great, and everyone's just slowly have bought into the system. Yeah. And now they're starting to see if everyone's doing their job and the discipline and the effort and all those things. And
being held accountable for those things, because now they know what to expect.
That's right. And how that can transfer to on the field, off the field, and life and everything. So it's great to see.
A small question in there, because I did mention that your son Preston does play. Mm-hmm. How is that kind of being a coach where your son is on that same team? Is that
it's the hardest thing for him is I'm probably harder than him than I am on anybody. Unfortunately for him, he did get hurt.
That could be a good thing. He just doesn't know it yet.
Right. Yeah, he did get injured the third game of the season and has been dying to get back. He's hoping to play next week, but it's all going to come down to his physical therapy. He had a dislocated knee, and
oh wow,
I had this injury that I've heard about, but I've never seen it.
Right.
And but he's come back well. He's been rehabbing, but to me, I treat all of these boys like they're my kids.
Anyway,
I give it's a very tough love. Yeah. They know where I stand. There's no gray area. It's just this way, black and white, and that's it. There's just no gray area with me. If you did great, I'm gonna tell you. If you didn't, you're gonna know that too.
Do you think defensive coaches, by nature, is like harder than offensive coaches as far as being hard on the players?
To me, I came from the best defensive coordinator to ever coach college football and maybe even professional football, and that's Mickey Andrews. And he was, he was one of the toughest coaches. I still have a very close relationship with Coach Andrews. Yeah, I see him several times every single year, and some of his grandsons and stuff come out and hunt with us. And, and just a guy that I truly love. But do I think it's harder? It's different. We're
that's just a wrinkle question, because I do notice a difference with defensive coaches and offensive coaches. I don't know. I'm an offensive coach myself, but like I just kind of wonder if it's a little bit, defense.
It is to me, because of course there's thought that goes into your reads and things like that. But it's an immediate, you're trying to teach them to read things so fast,
Yeah,
and move
and
so
attack.
fast and attack so
Yeah.
fast. And not that offense doesn't do that, but offense knows what they're doing before they move.
It's choreography,
and I have to react to what they're doing, and read that as quickly as I possibly can, and then read my guards and different things, run past all those things. So it's definitely a different style.
Yeah.
I think I could take my mentality and apply it to the offensive side of the ball, and I think it would work well with them as well.
Right.
Because it's all about discipline, effort, and giving.
And at the end of the day, football is football, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, if we can talk about your time at Florida State, how do you think your experience on because you played on college level, not everyone to get a chance to do that. I mean, especially here in Lake County, for one. So you're in a scholarship at, a great organization like Florida State.
Sure.
How have you been able to apply that to your coaching now? I mean, because what are we, week 7 or 6 right now? Like, have you been able to use your experience at Florida State?
Definitely, yes. I think it helps them understand from my standpoint of where I'm coming from, and maybe helps them grasp things a little bit quicker. Not that it's been quick, because these are young men, and my closest reference of mine is when I was at Florida State, and I'm sure when I was in high school, there was plenty of days that I was doing knucklehead things and not, reaching that level that I look for from my players every single day, because you're a young man, and sometimes they falter, of course.
Absolutely.
I would love to say they walk in the first day and they're ready to go, but it's a building process and it takes time. So it's kind of seeing that and trying to figure out, okay, where are we really, especially with those first couple weeks.
Yeah.
Then you start to see things start to happen and they get a little better, and it takes time.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
I do think they know the reference that I come from is a certain knowledge, and I think it garners a slightly quicker return than without it. Let's say that.
Do you think that everyone kind of knowing? I mean, I'm sure the players knew that you were playing for Florida State, and possibly fans of Florida State. Like, do you think that was easier for them to buy in because of where you came from, or did you still have to kind of like gain their trust, so to speak?
I don't think so. I'm the exact same person from the first day that I met them, this afternoon at practice.
Yeah.
And I think they knew from the first day that I wasn't messing around, that I was coming out there and I was going to expect certain things, and what those expectations were, and that I was going to be hard on them to make sure that they're here for the right reasons.
Right.
At the end of the day, we have a certain standard, and we will not come down to your standard. You can come up to ours and get there, but we're not coming down to your standard.
Absolutely. So. All right. Well, okay. So now that you're halfway through the season, the regular season, I'm assuming you guys want to make the playoffs. Do you think there's something maybe you learned about yourself becoming a coach that you maybe didn't know, or just maybe it's more highlighted now since you've been coaching?
I think now I really see how much we are affecting young lives.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it all worthwhile for me.
Yeah.
There's some boys that are on the edge, and I feel like I'm keeping them inside the edge and
well, as far as like maybe going the wrong way.
Yeah, going the wrong way, getting the negative influences, getting them to understand how this is not just football, this is life, and how this all transfers to life, and how you have to make the right decisions, how you have to keep the positive influences in your life, keep the negative influences out.
Yeah.
And when you see that young man wanting to come and talk to you and just express some of those things
and kind of getting it right,
it means the world to me as a father, coach, everything.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So last question, the way I end my interviews, and I kind of ask like, hey, what would you do? What would you say to someone new that's coming in, or what would you do if you can go back? In your case, this is your first year coaching, and you're halfway through it, so you haven't even gone a full year yet. But if someone came to you and said, Bobby, I'm looking to become a coach. I saw the interview on Prep Talk, and you inspired me to become a coach, man. What would you tell me to become what advice would you give me? Because
I'd ask them why, and then ask them,
what's your why?
The reason why behind everything, and if they give me the why that I feel like I would look for, I would say go for it. And if it's not, then I'd say, well, I'd rethink that because this is why I do it. This is why I'm going to continue to do it. And this is
because you can't do it for the money.
No.
Can't do it for the money. And I would warn someone like, hey, you guaranteed gonna fall in love with these kids. Just make sure you're okay with that because it does happen.
And you got to give them a tough love, and I think they respond so much better to that. There is no favoritism. It just does not happen. The guys that are the top dogs, they're going to work the hardest, and I'm going to expect the most out of them. And if that's not you, find another program.
I think Jimmy Johnson, the great Dallas Cowboy and coach, he said one time he treats all of his players fairly, differently. So basically, like, if you're Troy Aikman, you can come 5 minutes late, but if you're, Steve Berline, the backup, you better be there like 15 minutes early.
We're the exact opposite. If you're Troy Aikman, you're going to be early.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that was a horrible example, possibly, but I'm just saying, like, he treats them differently according to their status on the team. Like,
we're kind of the opposite, and I'm not saying that's what he meant or
right.
We make the examples out of the top dogs so that they can show these guys coming up what they can be, and at the end of the day,
because you need great leaders on your team.
That's what to me it's all about. If we can, those top leaders are basically the extensions of us, and they should be looking for the same things that we're looking for
on
all the
field.
way through. And it could be just someone talking when they shouldn't be talking, or not paying attention when they should be, or not giving it 100% when they should be. Those are the guys, and we give them that authority because we need them as leaders. And it helps, kind of from the foundation up and down and all the way around.
And it helps you not to be barking all the time as a coach.
And I'm going to tell you right now that, a lot of people ask, why were we able to win the national championship in '99?
Yeah.
It's really because our
Michael
senior
Vick.
class, we were all bought in. And the coaches knew that. We had as much power to do something within a weeks of practice as the coaches because they gave us that authority. Because they knew 100% we wanted what was best for this team.
And
if it was taking a Wednesday and only going shoulder pads because we were beat up, they would have allowed us to, every single week we would meet and have those conversations.
That's awesome,
We do the same thing with our seniors.
Because they knew that you guys were having the same message. You had the same,
100%.
Yeah.
We were 100% bought in. You couldn't run us hard enough. It was just one of those things that we were willing to do whatever it took.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, this is the time I always say hit the subscribe button, the like button, and hit the notification bell to know when new shows are coming out. Bobby, I want to thank you again for coming to do this show, man. That's awesome. And,